onto those questions for me. It kind of helps move things along here at the beginning. I'll pretty much answer all of your questions once I get them into your hands and to the next location. So again, hang on to those questions. So first piece, thermal imaging. You should be able to see me in there. I'm the red, orange, and yellow guy for, sorry fellas, but that means I'm the hottest thing inside the video. So last night was almost all ladies. That's kind of the exact opposite tonight. So it's kind of 50-50. So with that said, we're literally looking for blue and black spots to either take shape or move on their own. So this is a fantastic device. This is a FLIR. What does that mean for you? This is what firemen use to actually help save people. Like, this is the real deal. Like, this isn't some phone app where I altered it so it would be great for the tours. There's a blue dot bouncing around the screen. When you get your video back from this, that blue dot will help you identify where the coldest spot in the frame is at that particular moment. So with that, you're going to get this full video back. We're going to be doing a few starts and stops with this guy, simply because as great as the hardware is, the software sucks. So if we record for too long, we're going to lose all footage. We don't want to lose any footage. So with that said, Brandon, you're going to hold this guy horizontal all night long so you can actually watch it. Yeah, treat it just like a cell phone. Your camera's going to be in your bottom left-hand corner. Even when I tell you to restart it, make sure you're in that horizontal position with the camera to your left. Otherwise, we're going to have upside-down videos, and everybody's going to be mad at you.
Gotcha.
The next camera, I like to get them both out immediately, so that way we can get the exposure out of our cameras. And I don't forget. So this one is a little bit more Ghostbustery, right? So it looks a little crazy. Perfect. This is what we call a phasm cam. You should not be able to see me in that little small black screen right there.
The blue dot. I see the blue dot he's talking about.
See, and there's a little tiny GoPro. But notice it is pretty dark. Let's turn on some lights. There should be a whole purple screen right now. I just emitted 10 infrared lights to light up the entire screen for you. What this is going to do is it's going to capture things that we normally wouldn't be able to see with our own eyes, because notice you cannot see the lights with your own eyes. So we do have night vision, however we don't use it because it just attracts attention from my competitor tour guides when we get closer to town, so we just leave that guy off. With this particular guy, we're going to have an accompaniment along with it. The cool thing is this is a new upgrade. I've only had this guy for about 2 weeks. Almost every single night I've been able to capture orbs in this guy. And legitimate, not insects, not anything else other than solid orbs. Pretty cool stuff. So, Laura, you were all excited about the orbs and you forgot your camera.
I did.
See why I have you guys come in early?
Okay, cool.
So, cameras, now that they're both out. Normally I don't give it to the tallest person in the group, Brandon, so you're a lucky guy tonight. But anyway, people don't like their cars to be filmed. People don't like to be filmed themselves. When I do like Andy's coming, like from Toy Story, basically, Brandon, you're going to be playing with a cell phone, right? Just got kind of act casual. Laura, you're going to point you straight to the ground. Got it. So I'll say act casual. People don't like it. You got it. You're on top. So I want to get these out of the way also, because they accompany the camera that I just handed Laura. This is the neuralizer for Men in Black. None of you are going to remember anything by the time we're done. Lasers. We use lasers because the hope here is that we're going to be able to capture something actually moving through it. So we're going to be using Laura's camera to be able to do that. This thing lights up like a Christmas tree inside of that camera. It is wonderful. We can actually capture a full still from it, and I can give you a screenshot of what we caught that actually passed through it. The second laser, red squares. In the event we actually capture something here again, I can take that particular screenshot and I can put it in 3D software, and then we'll have a full 3D view of what we have along with measurements. So I've had this guy for about a year now. The software is yet to be able to take anything. Maybe tonight's all night. You never know. Again, I'm always going to be very honest with you if I caught things with stuff or not. So, Fred, obviously you have to work with her. I'm sorry. It's just that's the way it works out. So lasers stay on the ground. So you always want to keep the edge of it like right at your toe, because you don't want to go too far. So notice it's on my toe. You can use them in conjunction, like side by side. Don't cross the streams. Reason why? Because it's a bad Ghostbuster joke and it works here. But you just created one giant grid. There's no point in that. We want to create two big grids. So you can use them side by side. So as far as the pen, this one has a button you have to hold. It's right there in the center. So go ahead and point that down at the ground and turn it on. You have to hold it on when you want to use it. Now release it just so you get the gist of it. Perfect. This one has a toggle switch. So once it's on, it's on. You have to be careful where you point it. So this one, same thing. Keep it right at the edge of your toe so you don't go out too far, but you have to turn it off. So you'll kind of get the gist of that one too. We'll talk more about those lasers and how that camera is going to coincide with that at the next stop, just so you guys know. Spirit boxes. Everybody's excited about spirit boxes. We use several different types of spirit boxes. So we're going to be having all of them out tonight outside the bags, so kind of keep that in mind. If you're unfamiliar with spirit boxes, basically this is a way for us to communicate with the dead. This is going to sweep through all of the FM radio stations at a very fast rate. On your TV shows, it's basically the white noise that they give you, and then your host will tell you the BS he thinks he heard in the middle of it and try to convince you of the same thing. We're going to be doing that in real time. Only mine are slowed down. Man, you guys are a quiet group. Mine are slowed down on purpose. I want the radio chatter to come through. So, Peyton, was it?
Wow, look at me.
10 people.
Impressive.
So, you're going to be listening for DJs, song lyrics, and commercials. If any of those things start to come through that you can actually make it out, let me know what you heard. I'll be writing them down. The cool thing about Peyton's device is it's going to be recording the entire night. You're going to get the recording back tomorrow morning. Whatever he hears in real time, I'll obviously be writing it down. Also, whatever I spot check in the morning, you'll have those as well. It's another 15 to 20 markers on top of what we hear in real time. So kind of keep that in mind. Again, you can mess with the volume all you want to. You're going to have an earbud in. So again, you're going to be the only one to hear it. So I don't want earbuds back because earwax is gross. That's all about you. You can have it. It's already sweeping and recording. Undo the little twist tie on your earbuds, and your volume button is right here where my finger is.
Okay, got it.
Perfect. I have two of these. This one is not going to record. So Heather, was it?
Yes.
All right, you're going to have the second one. Yours is not going to record, so I'm going to have to rely on you, whatever you hear in real time, to be able to write that down to add to the analysis. Is that fair? Okay. So I'm going to set it up to sweep. Same thing. Your volume button is the wheel at the top. You'll have to undo the wheel. And then play the volume picture. The next spirit box. This one we don't have to listen to. This one is going to give us words from time to time in the center of the screen. As you can see right now, it has the word nomination up there. So it's going to save all of those words throughout the night. Last night we had 99 terms show up. So that's a lot of terms. This is a phone app. It's meant to try to scare you. 80% of this is going to be garbage. So the other 5 to 20%, it's going to be relevant to our location, our personal interest, or even something going on with one of you. It happens all the time. I'm going to clear out last night's list, so we start off fresh. Again, look at that. It says no sync. I wonder if it's talking about me. We'll kind of find out. So, all about you. I don't want to see every word that pops up. I won't talk to you when I want to see the words. Otherwise, we're going to be out here till like 5 o'clock. So, again, 99 terms showing up.
Start burning all my clothes. Throw it on the bed. What's that?
You didn't read it.
You know what?
Victor, you're going to get
That
my
means
newest
no.
spirit box.
Thank you.
This guy is going to sweep through the FM and AM radio stations
You
at the
remember
same
the time when you signed up?
So it's going to try to take out the white noise that Heather's here and only give you about 10 to 12 terms throughout the entire night. So with that said, I'm only going to show you one button, and that's going to be the mute button. I have it sweeping in forward motion right now. Obviously there's not much coming out of it, and it's not even muted. So again, it's only going to give us 10 to 12 terms. This thing is about 75% accurate. This is also pretty new. I've only had it maybe a month now. So if the lights are blinking at the top on the right-hand side, there's one button. That's the mute button. It's on mute right now. So I will go ahead and give you the cue when it's okay to unmute it. I'm really good about giving you guys the cues to start and stop things, just so everybody knows. OSHIN, you need a spirit box too, girl. So, the reason I'm giving this one over to you is because it's open speaker. You're not going to have an earbud. So again, I'm giving this one to you because it doesn't record, but Brandon's camera does. So obviously you two are probably going to stick close together tonight, so that way in case something does pop up, hopefully we'll be able to capture it on the audio from the thermal imaging camera. Is that fair to everybody? So again, I want to try to get as much recorded as I possibly can. So I'm actually going to show you where the volume button is. It's on the side of the ball speaker. You're going to roll it down. There's a little button right there. It's like, turn the volume down, and then you roll it up.
Hold it that
And you
way.
just hold it there for a second, and you start to get volume back. So there are certain spaces where I say definitely turn that down because we might squeak horses or anything like that. So just be mindful of that. Alright, so you guys have all seen these on television, right? I'm sure. These are pretty basic things, right? I think this is what you were talking about with me earlier. So these are EMF detectors. It's going to measure any kind of electromagnetic fields, including things from our cell phones, wiring, parking meters, buildings, anything of the like. I use this to debunk things a lot. So I'm actually adding something back into the kit tonight just because this isn't always a super exciting type thing, and I'm going to give that person something extra to do. So Matt, yeah, I'm getting the words down tonight.
You got it.
So I want to know any of these lights that actually flicker. Just let me know what colors you see. So that's going to be our first indicator that something might be going on, but I use it to debunk things as well. I'm also going to have you be our photographer for the night. So randomly, take random photos. I don't care if you take hundreds of them. It's perfectly fine. The memory card gets emptied every single time I use this. So unfortunately, I did not bring any extra batteries. I checked my bag before I left. So if it dies, it dies. Unfortunately. So if it shuts off, it's the power button's right next to the shoot button. Obviously, the shoot button is the biggest one on there. I normally don't hand that to teenagers because they have no idea what the hell it is. So just pointing that out. So you have double duty tonight. Last but not least, of course, the one name I can't remember. That's a million different names. Jacob. Yeah. Oh, I should remember that. Your name showed up on the spirit box last night. So we'll talk all about that later on. You're my multi-tasker. Okay. So this device is called a millimeter, everybody. So it has an EMF detector in it as well, but it's digital. So anything that comes up on Matt's, I don't know what the relationship is here, so I'll call that first name. Anything on Dad's, I want to know what's going on. So 2.5 and higher on the top number. That's the big set of digits.
Gotcha.
That would be Dad's second green dot. Okay. Just so you know. That way you and I can figure out what's going on. The bottom is ambient temperature. Brandon finds something on his thermal imaging camera. You and I can debunk it or prove it pretty quickly with the yellow probe that's right here. We will find it. Last but not least, it has a REM pod built into it. So in the event something actually gets close to the antenna that I just pulled out, it will go off, and I am not touching it. Now it's got a whole lot higher. Yeah. So we will talk more about that at our second location, just because there's a lot that goes into that detail. For now, just focus on the red numbers.
Okay, awesome.
All right, guys, go have fun. Let me know what happens.
Okay, I have a question. On this baby,
Yes.
how do I make it go? Oh, it's already recording.
Shouldn't be recording yet.
Well, no, it's a, well, no, no, the time is on here.
Yeah,
Just
the time of how much time is left on the SD card is on there.
Okay,
I'm going to show you how to
Okay,
get
when
that
we
thing
get
started.
there.
When we get
Got
there.
it.
Perfect.
need to know.
Thanks for the much lighter bag. Makes my night a lot easier. So, not 50 pounds in there anymore. All right, so any concerns at this point before I move forward? You guys are going to make me talk because I'm pretty sure it's my job to talk to you all night, isn't it not? All right, perfect. So, Big John's behind me. Of course it's haunted. That's why we start here. This place used to be owned by a football player. Guess what his name was? Big John. Yes, you're correct. Good job. So, Big John, who was a football player for the 1947 New York Giants. Whenever I'm giving you the history of a building or a space, I will do my best to slow down on certain keywords for all of the spirit boxes that we have out here in play tonight. In this location, it would be 47, New York, Giants, John, and anything relatable to a bar or tavern. So, anyway, he used to own this place, and he would sit in the back of the bar. That's probably coming from the parking meters underneath the sidewalks. Just so you know, the electrical lines are there. I'll debunk those all night long. So, he used to sit in the back and tell the bartender the cadets coming over from the Citadel if they were old enough to drink or not. One night, two guys come in, they're not old enough to drink. He has the bartender throw them out. They leave pretty angry. And they come back the next night, and John, well, they were trying to steal the cash register from the front of the bar. So John sees what's going on. He slams down his beer and just starts beating these guys into the floor, just beating the hell out of them. A couple of gunshots go off. John gets hit in the neck, and the bullet lands behind him in the wall. John gets up after being shot. He's the only one been shot, by the way. Now it looks like it might be coming from your cell phone.
I was checking. This one off. So where's the power on that?
Right next to the shoot button.
Okay.
So it's the little one right next to it. Perfect. Yeah, it's going to shut off all night long. So
That's what I figured. That's one, but make sure I knew where it was.
He goes back to the bartender and he tells him to get him another beer, get the two guys on the floor, and ambulance. So, what's the moral of the story? You don't mess with Big John. He'll beat you up. The second moral is, normally you think of a haunted building that somebody died in it. That's not the case here. What's haunting the building? The bullet hole. The legend is still here. Even if the new renovation of Big John's that we're now looking at filled in that bullet hole, the blood of Big John is still in this building. People that sit in the front of this bar tend to get a little queasy, nauseous, or headache. This is your heated warning. Fingers crossed, we're going to be dealing with paranormal activity tonight, because that's what you all signed up for. I don't know how it's going to affect you. If anybody feels any of those symptoms, headache, nausea, dizziness, I need to know immediately so we can move the whole group and get that person to safety. Is that fair? That's the scariest thing I'm going to tell you all night long, I promise, because it deals with your health. So, let's take our minds off our health, because Oshin's looking at me like wide-eyed, like, what the hell did we sign up for? So, same building. Have you guys taken other, like, Charleston tours at all? Some of you, yes, no? All right, so big earthquake here in 1886, for those of you who didn't know, because every tour guide talks about it. It's an anomaly for South Carolina, because it's South Carolina. We're not supposed to have earthquakes, we're supposed to have hurricanes. So, 1886, apparently this is where the first death occurred from that earthquake. The white mantle you see in the middle of the building also wraps around the front on the very busy East Bay Street side. So, a piece of that broke off on the front of the building, hit somebody in the back of the head, killed them. They say you can see his ghost in the middle of East Bay Street in the middle of the night. I said apparently and allegedly a lot with that story because I don't have any proof. It's just a great segue so Oshin's not thinking about getting sick on the tour, even though I just brought it up again. So, is everybody ready to go ghost hunting and get off this very busy street corner so I don't have to scream at you all night long? Very awesome. Let's do this. We're going to go this way.
If there's people around.
Right. Oshin, I could have swore I was going to be calling you OSHIN all night long. I'm just putting
No, close though.
That's why I asked, like, who are you? That's why I was waiting for everybody. Like, what's your name? What's your name? Because I didn't want to mispronounce it. I'm glad you corrected me from the start. So, welcome to the Big Red Barn lot. Notice my voice changed already, kind of coming down, because we are standing next to where we keep the horses for your carriage rides, and yes, they can hear us. So that's why we use earbuds with the spirit boxes, because we don't want to spook horses, because they will pick the metal wall and scare the bejesus out of all of us. So it's never a fun time. We also don't flash any lasers on that building. We're also near vehicles, so we're not going to be in this spot for a long time. And this is basically the next part of your hands-on training, so we can go deep dive into much further history than football players' opponents. Okay, so the history here is a one-liner. This is the same red barn where we held horses that used to deliver milk and eggs to the residents of Charleston, 1860s to 1920s. So, with that said, Matt, just so you know, the camera rules are the same for yours as well. So, people don't like their cars to be filmed or taken pictures of. They have no idea what we're doing. Sorry, I'm a bad dad with these cameras. Like, I'm all over it, especially cameras and lasers. So, spirit boxes, let's talk about these, because we have a lot of them in play tonight. Actually, all of them. So, everybody wants to ask the same question whenever they get a spirit box. And this is not a Ouija board, this is not television or YouTube. This is not, is somebody here? Because everybody wants to ask that question. If somebody says no, that means somebody's here, right? So we are not going to be asking yes or no questions all night long. Whether you're a skeptic or a true believer, you want paranormal proof tonight, and fingers crossed we're going to get it for you. So, in a space like this, I would normally tell you folks to ask questions you already know the answers to get used to with spirit boxes. For example, I will always give examples when I'm training you on something. If somebody's here, tell me what color the big red barn is. Obviously, we're going to be looking and listening for the color red. Where's the spirit? So Kendra has the, that's why I say looking, because she has the word list. So, obviously we're looking for red or listening for red, but most of you are waiting for DJs and song lyrics to convey messages back to us. The word red might not be available to them at that particular time. So, fire truck, blood, heart. Those three things are specifically red. To me, that would be an acceptable answer. What color is the big red barn? Blood. Okay, cool. However, most of the night, I'm going to require 2 happenings. Every one of my devices is out tonight. 2 happenings of some sort to be able to verify what's actually going on. For example, Kendra's word list, I'm going to say, has the word art on it. Peyton, here's the number 40. individually, those two terms don't mean anything by themselves. However, Art Faircloth was number 40 on Big John's team. You see how we're going to be putting clues together all night long? So a lot of the times tonight, I will withhold information for you on purpose so that everybody has a genuine experience. So I'm going to do that all night long. So that way I'm like, all right, here's some great questions. You're going to get the answers from your spirit boxes. So a lot of these people tonight from the 17 and 1800s all have the same name. Lots of Charleses, Georges, Elizas. Like, we need to know who the heck we're talking to. That's why we always look for that secondary clue. You're going to hear me say that a lot. So let's talk about cameras. Let's start with yours, Miss Laura. Fred, point one of your lasers on the ground for me. Perfect. So when you're filming this, you're not going to be filming down at it. You're actually going to take a step or two backwards because we want to go through it. There you go. You got it. So your record button is the circle all the way to the right on the top. We can go ahead and start recording. Nope. Yep, you got it.
I'm going to record now.
Yeah, we're going to start it now. We'll just get it going. Just tap it once, real quick, and let go.
I did?
Nope.
No.
So it's real fast.
Okay.
Now it's going. So we're just going to let it record, and I'll let you know when to stop it. So that's basically how you two are going to be working. Nice and slow. If you guys move, make sure your camera moves slow, your lasers move slow. The slower the two of you move, and especially in sync together, the much easier it is to actually capture motion going through these guys.
Got it.
So we can go ahead and kill the lasers for right now. I will also kind of give you the heads up that those lasers will set off car alarms. No pressure, Fred. None at all. See why I spread that up? Where's my thermal imaging camera? Brandon. Yeah. So, man, I'm on it with the name. So, you're going to try to do two things for us. And normally I hand this to the shortest person in the group. I'm going to tell you why here in just a moment. But the first thing you're going to try to do is you're going to try to keep one of us in view. The reason why is because we're going to be the warmest things out here. So, in the event Kendra is over 100 degrees, you need to let me know so I can kick her off the tour so she can go feel better. So, because you're going to be the only one that knows, right?
Correct.
The temperature gauges. But the 97 degrees that we're supposed to be is going to give us that contrast of color. So that way we can actually see the cold anomalies moving across the screen when they do appear. The other thing you're going to try to do is keep the sky out to view, which is why I normally give it to the shortest person. So they're the furthest away from the sky. If there's a young child in the group, they're the first one to get it. So, just so you know. But the reason why that is because that blue dot that's bouncing around the screen will default to the blue sky looking for a surface. There's no surface on the sky.
Correct.
So again, do your best because some of these spaces, that's going to be impossible. So again, the lower you hold that camera, the better it's going to be. So that's why I normally don't put it, like, give it to the tallest person because he does look like a YouTuber all night and all the other tours sign up to be filmed, whereas you guys did. Does that make sense to everybody? All right, so I think everybody has a great gist. Did you get any readings on, you have a little bit of something going on?
I do too.
What do you have?
This is only a .1, but it's
.1
it's going up.
So anything on yours, Jacob, is going to be, yeah, but what I'm going to give you a little bit of just an insight on it. Up to like 1.1 is natural from the Earth. Gotcha. So that's why I say anything above 2.5. That's why Matt's doesn't actually go do anything until it hits 2.5. Because that's kind of a natural. Cool. So you already had, like, I seen the orange, that's about 15 milligauss. We're going to talk more about those readings at the next space. And Jacob, I'm going to have to show you a lot more about that REM pod at the next spot. Also, I do want to move this along. Is anybody hearing anything on their spirit boxes? Those of you with earbuds? Nothing? Nothing about you? Just music. Okay, and that's what you want. So if you hear song lyrics, I want to know what you hear. Okay. So for those of you that have those noisy spirit boxes, if you guys hear "Buy a Kia today," I want to know that you heard "Buy a Kia today." Does that make sense to everybody?
Shout it out. Just shout it out.
You can.
Yeah, okay.
At some point, if I'm getting overwhelmed with too many things to write down, I'll say, "Hang on, let me get through the history." So yeah. Because again, that will happen as we get better at this. Because right now, you guys are just learning on how to listen to it. So let's actually get away from this vehicle. We're going to go to our next spot before he actually backs up. Oh, he already started. Never mind. We'll kind of hang out and let him do his thing. We'll let him back up.
So should I just turn this off and then start it at each location?
No,
Just leave it on?
you can leave it on for a while. That one has been fantastic. Unlike the thermal imaging camera, like that one likes to lose footage.
Okay.
I got stop and listen pretty clear.
Pretty clear?
Yeah.
Nice. So let me write that one down. I'm going to pull you guys in as far away from that exit as possible. It's the only entrance and exit for vehicles. And normally I go like back in that corner, but that young lady's like unloading her trunk. But you heard stop and listen. Do we have any readings going on with the EMF detectors? Awesome, Peyton. So they're getting the gist of how to listen. It's a good deal. So, welcome to another beautiful space of Charleston. You're in a parking lot. Good job. Congratulations. You guys don't know where to park by the time I'm done with you. I don't know how to help you. I'm sorry. So, just one of those things. I know, right? So, this used to be something. That's why we're here. Spirit boxes, I will not be giving you questions, like I said earlier, like what color is George Washington's white horse? Like what we did over there at the Big Red Barn. You are going to get your answers from your spirit boxes. So, let's get into what this space actually is. This used to be the Charles and Eliza Pinckney Mansion. Their mansion actually sat in the front of this lot. Eliza's garden was lined up exactly with where we are and went all the way across the lot, and then the servant and slave quarters were in the back of the space for the home. So, and it actually went over that median to where those cars are parked now. Yes, I've been down here with measurements with old maps, so I can know exactly where I'm talking about. So, who the heck were these people? Charles and Eliza had a son named Charles, they had a nephew named Charles. That's 3 different Charleses, in case you lost track. That's why we always look for secondary clues. The son and the nephew were signers of the Constitution for South Carolina. That's a pretty big deal for us, but I hate politics more than anybody here. We're gonna move on. So what do you think? So let's talk about Eliza. That's where things get a little much easier to find. So Eliza married Charles at a young age according to today's standards, not the colonial times that she came from. So when you ask her how old she was when she got married, the answer will not be like 12 and 14. Okay, just so you know. The only reason I bring this up is because Charles, her husband, was over double her age when they married. It's a pretty big age gap for colonial times when you start to think about really what those age numbers could be. She married Charles because her father over in England thought he was dying, and he wanted to see all of his children one last time. He's trying to bring them all home. Eliza didn't think he was dying, so she stayed put because she fell in love. This is 1744. She married Charles out of love, not for a green card or for citizenship. Yes?
Promises.
Ha! I talked about the Constitution already, which is super awesome. So Charles Pinckney, the nephew, introduced the Pinckney's Promise to the Constitution. I can't remember exactly what year that was, but that is definitely awesome that you heard that.
Yeah.
So, very cool stuff. These are the clues we are looking for. So, good job. Where was I? I lost my train of thought.
Come on, listen.
She didn't marry him.
Oh, yeah.
Green card. Yeah.
So, Dad got better, which means Eliza was correct, and him not going to be dying right away. So he starts sending her gifts from England to this space. Y'all have been in town for at least an hour that I know of. You've seen the word indigo somewhere. I promise you. One of the gifts that he sent her were indigo seeds. She didn't know what to do with it when she got it. She had to learn from her servants and slaves because she didn't know what to do with it. Indigo was already here because our servant and slave culture that was here came from the Gullah culture. They're agriculturists. She learned from them what to do with it, then capitalized on it by moving it to a plantation just north of here. She calls her dad and says, rice plantations are going downhill. We can make a killing with this indigo. Now we have an international businesswoman during colonial times. So how about that? Now, that's the business of Eliza. Let's get into the weird stuff, because that's why you guys are all here, right? You guys want to know all the weird junk about it?
Yeah.
So, she was the second wife named Eliza from Charles, back to back. First wife Eliza passes away. 5 months later, he's married again. Fellas, it's either really smart or really stupid, depending on how you look at it. So, ironically, both Elizas have a maiden name, not the middle name, maiden name that starts with the letter L. That's all I'm going to give you. You want to find out which Eliza we're dealing with? Ask what the maiden name is. Let's see, the mansion's not here anymore. We can ask what happened to that. If we get an answer, obviously you can ask what year that happened. These are very specific questions, just so you guys know. Let's see. Oh, the children. You can ask how many and what their names are. Leave it alone. That's the only 2 questions you can ask. Reason being, there's a tragedy among those children. If we start poking the bear, all activity stops, including EMF readings. It all goes down to 0, and your spirit boxes give me absolutely nothing. So don't poke the bear. I will tell you what the tragedy is before we leave. Eliza's death is where she's really open. It's something you wouldn't think she would be, but I normally get answers about this every single night of the week. Eliza, how old were you when you died? Where did you die? Where are you buried? And what president was a pallbearer at your funeral? These are all very specific questions. You guys see why we don't go after yes or no questions? We want the proof. Okay, things about the space. It's very crowded in here tonight. It is a weekend. We're not going to go in between vehicles, filming vehicles, or any of the like with things with vehicles. If people are walking through, obviously it's an Andy's coming type moment for all 3 cameras. Sorry, Matt, I forgot I even had that one out tonight when you were taking pictures earlier. So I used to use that with the lasers until I found out how great it is to use it with one of these. So you could still take pictures of the lasers and we might still capture things. So I do have to work with Jacob for just a moment just so that I can kind of get him going with that REM pod because I have to show him a little bit more detail about it. You guys will hear about it on your regular audio. Notice how I skip through things so that way you guys can get to work. But yeah, we're going to spread out. We're going to stay in here for about 10 minutes based on the amount of evidence coming through. I'll be bouncing around with all of you writing things down. So you should be following Matt and Jacob once I set him free because they're going to know where the hot spots are. But everybody else, start listening to those spirit boxes, get them cranked up. Sorry about the loud music. It's normally not this loud out here, even on a weekend. So I don't even know where that's coming from. But yeah, even a weekend, I feel like I'm screaming at you guys. You two are like super quiet, like uber quiet. Like, I don't know what to make of this yet. You both have spirit boxes and need to communicate back to me. So we're going to see how this goes. Have you heard anything yet?
No, it's just scrambling like different, like the radio station's turning.
Yeah, and if you hear something out of that, let me know. Even if a DJ, like I said, says buy IKEA today, I want to know you heard buy IKEA today. I want to see if you're getting the gist on how to listen to it. And you could take it, well, you got the other one that's open air. So yeah, go ahead and unmute it, start listening in, see what you guys capture. Kendra, I do want to see your word list so you can kind of hang out with me and Jacob. Everybody else? 5.4? Yeah. Awesome. I'm going to write that one down for sure, and I have to write that one down. He's giving me good stuff. At this point, we're going to go anything above 12. I don't want to write down a million numbers. So it's 5.1, 12 point.
I'm just keeping my eyes on people that are walking. Well, you know, I'm just making sure I keep it low, like he stated. This was a mansion right here, though. That's cool.
I hear talking. Don't know what the fuck they saying.
Okay, I hear. You got some good ears in. I ain't seen nothing move. I just the temperature been the same. I'm just making sure I keep all y'all in view. I wish I was short. You hear anything?
Okay. Yeah. So,
You still hear the same? Oh, you actually do hear stuff? I wish I could hear it.
It's just the birds.
Oh. It's like a radio station.
My hair falling.
Oh, it is. It is. It's amazing how this used to be a spot in Liza.
okay, gotcha.
Any other words you want? I like my son. That works. We have a lot of family names. Sorry, Brandon, but that's usually we're gonna review it and see what kind of comes up. I'm not always gonna follow up.
Oh, I
with
know.
You. So just nice, slow movements. You're on it, man.
I'm
Is
just
this what
making
y'all
sure.
thought you signed up for? Watch the vehicle.
They're like, what's going on?
I get asked that all the time. What are y'all doing? Like, yeah, we're ghost hunting.
Yeah.
We're just
What's the like we're doing?
They finna come out.
all right. Sheen, are you hearing anything?
It's like intermittent between stations.
Okay. So are you hearing
But I
anything?
can't like make that up word.
You have the hardest mouth.
Oh shit, thanks.
No, it is, but I was listening to it too.
Shit, thanks.
It's like intermittent between radio stations
Yeah, I'm hearing. I
playing.
heard don't be afraid.
Okay.
But
But you heard
I
something.
don't.
That's
yeah,
the point.
it's
Is it relevant? Probably not.
like, shit, probably not.
But I'm gonna write it down anyway because you
Don't.
heard. Don't. Okay.
I didn't hear anything. All I
In this
heard.
space, I literally write down everything you guys come up with because you're learning how to. I'm asking you to do something with your senses that you've never done before. Like I'm asking you to super focus on hearing alone. So again, I don't care what gender you hear. Again, that I make a joke about buy a Kia today because that comes through all the time. So again, you hear the word Kia, it's probably not going to mean anything. But the point is, I want you to try to listen for something like that. So that's the whole point of this. Heather's getting this.
Racial and neighbors.
Racial.
I
is
need
probably
the-
gonna come
I
up
need
quite a
this-
bit
I need the
because
hearing
shooting
job.
today. You guys hear about the shooting? Buffalo, New York.
Oh yeah. I saw that at the. I told her about that the supermarket.
Yep.
I told her about that.
No.
No, it's in New York, Buffalo.
New York, yeah.
7 people got killed.
9.
Oh, never mind. 9
Oh,
now.
I'm sorry. I was thinking of the shooting that was here a couple years ago. It was actually 10 in Buffalo. They're actually comparing what happened in Buffalo today to the shooting that happened down here a few years ago.
I heard about the one in Buffalo.
I was sitting here looking at this shit, trying to find a way to like stop it from skipping.
Oh, that ain't. You can cancel that, cuz.
Again, I've been very mindful.
It's amazing how y'all can all hear something. That's what really is amazing. Like I really want to hear it.
You can hold it.
Interview. I heard interview. I heard interview. I'll tell them when we get done.
You got it. Go ahead. Put it down.
I just gotta make sure I keep y'all in view.
I already know what the song is like. I'm looking for
Car finna pull out.
There you go. You're on it. Basically, I'm just looking for stuff like this. I'm flashing so that way you'll have the example on the camera when you guys get the video back. Sandra?
Ashes, mom.
I like ashes.
I heard interview.
Interview?
Yeah.
You asked me something.
I said, what happened to your son after she said son, and then she said bomb, and then ashes.
front though, man. Can I? Let me. Yeah.
No, it's not. It's gonna happen one night.
I think we're gonna have we actually I witnessed the flight like broke out. Like it was crazy. And then last night, at Big John's, bouncing somebody out because the guy claimed to have a gun. And the funny thing is we heard weapon, gun, and it came up on the word list all at the same time. So it's
Hard.
It's hard, man. It's real hard.
You gotta focus
It's so
on
hard.
that spirit box.
Yes, boy. That's hard. That's hard to catch anything on that. I'm sorry.
What do you got?
Did I tell you neighbors?
Neighbors.
I think you did. You said racial name. Racial
Okay,
name. I heard
that's
you said racial
I
name.
don't know that I wrote down neighbors though, because I mentioned racial and what was going on in New York today. Neighbors. You guys are giving me a lot. So, Kate, what do you got?
I think I got Chicago.
Specific cities are very interesting to me. Any readings coming out, Jacob, Matt?
I didn't get anything over. The highest I got was about like 11 points.
Okay.
I'm walking around. I got a couple more.
He's drunk.
He is gone.
Completely gone.
I'm glad somebody drove him
They had to
home.
pick him up to put him in the vehicle.
I'm glad somebody drove him home.
He was short and small, right?
Right?
Have you gotten anything on yours, Victor?
Possibly a hay.
A hay? Again, you're only going to hear about 10 to 12 terms total. Everybody do one more quick round robin and then meet me back here. I'm going to hold this space before somebody else parks in it. So,
I hope nobody else is coming. What that was?
I did get something out of it. Slide it down. Huh? When I say I caught roars on that thing, they are legit roars. Sizable, movable, just changing directions. Like, pretty awesome stuff. I'm really infatuated with that guy. God. So it's basically a small, and it's an upgrade from the S7. They're just upgrading. Yeah. So you guys want to but Victor's got the massive upgrade here. Just split up. So basically, yeah, it's a small board. The heather is like all over this. Alright guys, let's rein it in. Come on back. Unload and what was the other one? Out there. Ken was excited about something.
I said, Eliza, are you here? It said hurry, and then their numbers bumped up.
Oh, hi.
Mine looked about the yellow, and I don't know what
My proximity got to blue, and my numbers didn't change.
Numbers did not change.
Yeah.
So you've actually had motion, and you had wow, crazy stuff.
It's still
So here's what I'm excited about. I'm excited about the word ashes that showed up. I mentioned that your name, Jacob, showed up here last night. Not at this specific location, just on the tour in general.
Yeah.
So the word list that, Mom, is it?
Yeah.
Am I getting it right?
Yeah.
So again, I don't try to assume anything. I never know.
You're probably wise to do this.
Yeah, I never do. So the word list that Kendra's using, everybody, a lot of times it'll give me names of a person on my next tour or their nationality.
Whoa. Shut the
It's
front
almost
door.
predictable. Like, it's crazy. So when I actually heard Jacob I want to say I heard it on the S-Box recording. So that would be the one that Peyton has. So I want to say it came up on that one and not on the word list, but it is just odd that your name showed up and I didn't. Again, I can't make this stuff up. I don't look for it. It just so happens. And when I say people's nationalities show up, it'll come up with things like Filipino, Croatian, German. I mean, very specific to somebody either on the tour right now or the next night's tour. So again, you had a name that showed up. Julian. I don't know if I have Julian, but I'm actually off tomorrow, so we'll see if something's going to pop up on my Monday tour for Julian. So very, very interesting. Ashes, I'm excited about that. Obviously, you're going to find out why here in just a moment. You all heard a little bit of something. So again, that was part of the point of this exercise. The videos, again, are all about the review for the next day, so I don't always follow up with the videos. I'm like, hey, did you capture something? If you guys see orbs on obviously the camera that you have, so you'll tell me. Obviously, you get excited about things like that. But as far as the thermal, because of the detail that goes into that camera, it's all about the next day. So we'll kind of find out what's going on with that. We are going to stop both videos at this point and give both cameras a break. So go ahead and hit the circle on yours, hit the square, it'll turn to a circle, and you can...
You know what he told me to do? This don't look safe. This is like a scary movie.
I had a plum on there. I thought I waited till we got here.
Oh, yeah. Along the way to keep you busy. So that's the longest trek. What do you have in there?
Ecosystem?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got it.
I didn't think so.
Teaching is interesting. We'll see what else pops up with that. Again, that might be at first school. Something else. So, with that said, welcome to Lodge Alley. This is a very interesting space. We don't spend a whole lot of time here, and we are going to be somewhat quiet in this location. And Greg, you can't shine your lasers down in here if you want to, if she wants to film it. Again, we're just going to make sure we can keep them right in the middle. We don't want to be shining any windows, which is why I bring us all the way up here. But with this location, when we cross that last crosswalk coming over, that's where the original Charlestown walls used to be. So you are standing on one of the original streets of Charlestown. Charleston used to be called Charlestown, the walled city. So I have the full list of residents of every person that's ever lived down here. The two buildings we're leaning on right now, they weren't here. Little tiny shotgun houses. So when I say people used to live here, I'm not talking like dozens of houses down this road. I'm talking like 2 to 6 people at a time lived in shotgun houses. So these people didn't have a whole lot of money. So the names I commonly get are Benjamin and John. Every 6 to 7 weeks, those names will show up. Now, you're thinking those are very common names. Can't be ironic when I get the same names every 6 to 7 weeks, and they both lived here in 1801. That's 2 out of 5 people that lived here in 1801. There were 4 different Johns that lived in this alley over a 60-year period. So if we ever get confused as to which one, John will give us his last name as well, which was Johnson. Yes, his name was John Johnson. So, very ironic. But at the same token, you can't mistake when I get the same things over and over again. Here's why I think that happened. You're standing on Belgian blocks. These bricks are basically made out of granite, full granite. They all seem like they're pretty into the paranormal of some sort. You've heard the term limestone before. It's said to stir up that paranormal activity because it comes straight from the earth, as does granite. These things have been here for a couple of 100 years. They say when stone hangs out in the same space for long periods of time, it hangs on to the consciousness and memories. It basically spits them back out and plays them on a loop. It's called the stone tape theory. So, with Benjamin and John showing up every 6 to 7 weeks, in the loop where are we now? We're on week 1. Because I had Benjamin and John show up several times last week and the week before that. I can cannot pinpoint a moon phase, the exact day when I'm going to hear them. I have no idea. All I know is it's every 6 to 7 weeks we get those two names. Every once in a while we'll get a third name. That name is Jane. That's a third person out of 1801's roster of 5 people. Don't find that coincidental whatsoever. Before people lived here, they actually had a Masonic lodge here, the Freemasons. So that's where the name comes from, Lodge Alley. We do get terms wrapped around the Freemasons as well. So the Freemason, Mason, Brick, and the term Illuminati loves to show up here. I have to chuckle every time I hear Illuminati because it normally comes up on one of the portable spirit box. First off, who the hell is talking about the Illuminati on the radio? And second, why am I only hearing it while I'm in this space? So again, interesting. I'll tell you why here in a moment. Last night when I mentioned the term Illuminati, the word symbols showed up on the spirit box word list. Obviously, the Illuminati are known for having a lot of symbols.
Correct.
So very interesting that that popped up that way. And the name Eliza just popped up. I'll explain why here in just a moment. When people actually lived here, they did do an archaeological dig to learn more about those people. They found some of their tools and silverware, learned that these people were poor. It would make sense because the other side of the Charlestown Wall would have been on East Bay Street, across the street from where we were. The smell of low tide would be coming down here quite a bit. So the rich people of Charleston are not going to put up with that. If you've been walking around town, I'm sure you noticed our houses are skinny in the front and they go long back.
Correct.
There's a couple of reasons for that. The main reason is you were taxed based on how much street side you drove. So the skinnier your house, the less taxes you pay. So the other reason is because that puts a piazza on the house. That's basically a front porch on the side, and it puts a door on it. It keeps the smell of low tide from coming in. They would open up their second-story windows and allow the cool breeze from the water to come in. Cool air drops, heat rises. It's old school air conditioning. It just keeps everything fluent inside the home. So again, that's why when people come down here, and I used to tell them, like, you thinking like the Pinckney Mansion that I just showed you, it's that broad against the street that I just showed you that picture. The reason being is, first off, the Pinckneys had indigo money, and most of them were politicians outside the city. Either they're not paying taxes at all, or they were going to pay them because they already had the money to pay it, and they just wanted to show off their beautiful home. So again, it is one of those kind of instances. So with that said, this is a very interesting space, and I was lollygag here for a little bit, giving you the history, because again, this isn't a space where we ask questions, we're waiting for something to happen, either on a recording, a word list, something along those lines. You have some works? Awesome. Can't wait to see those. So somebody last night actually thought there was an orb coming from me all the way down to the ground, but when I seen the speed of it and how it was moving, and the fact that it started outside the camera and exited outside the camera, I can't, like normally I would not normally say that's an insect. So hopefully you have something that's developing in the frame and leaving in the frame. So that would be pretty awesome stuff.
I can't wait to see this video.
Yeah, this is a very cool alley game to capture. The next space we're going to go to is another alley. However, I cannot take you all the way through it like what we're doing now. I've been kicked out. You guys all have all the gizmos and gadgets, blinky lights and all of that. It is considered residential at the end. Oh, we're going to talk about that later. That's that fun part of that story. So, yeah, you guys are all waiting for that one. I just got in trouble. But I still tell the story outside the alley only because we stir up a lot of activity through the remainder of our night based on that story. So it is a great story. It deals with dueling. So again, you're in Charleston. You've got to know a little bit about guns. At least I have to teach you like cobblestones and guns. You're in Charleston. I'm sorry, guys. That's the way it goes. After that, we're going to see what the spirit boxes are kind of giving me, because the next corner after that has like 15 stories attached to it. If you guys don't give me any relevant terms relative to outside of the 2 stories I normally tell, I'll tell those 2 stories I normally tell, and then we're going to deep dive into a female pirate at our last location. So again, if you're into pirates, which I am not, I'll explain that later. Oh, so this is a whopper of a story. It is my big finale, and it is kind of a crazy one. I don't like pirates, so if I'm getting excited about something, this story is pretty awesome stuff. So we're going to be cutting through a neighborhood as we go to the next alley, so you guys are going to cut off your videos as we exit. So you can leave them on. Once we get to the edge, turn them off, only because we are going to be in a neighborhood. Again, with the EMF meters, you're going to be getting false positives. You can ignore those. If the cameras, all 3 of you, which is kind of weird for you to have the digital camera out again, as we exit, want to turn around and get one empty shot, by all means do so for everybody else so we can all see it. You guys, when like a tour like this with this many devices now, it doesn't matter what device you have now, it's going to be like you have them all, like Monday when I give you back your data. So again, it's one of those things where I'm going to have all of the data on everything you guys are doing together. You're all just doing one job instead of having inspection. So it's like multitasking. It's all over. All right, let's go through the rest of this alley so we can go up to the next one. We're actually going to take a little bit further.
keep all y'all in view. I just like hearing the story.
I do too. There's some really good ones.
Yeah.
There's some really good ones.
This reminds me of Savannah, though. Savannah. So this reminds me of Savannah, Georgia. They have
Exactly.
They have these same old.
And
brick-
Boston. Boston's got some of these roads too. So
That's somewhere I want to go next.
Boston's great. We went there we've been there 3 or 4 times, but we went there last summer.
What time? I would say what time of year? You
We
summertime?
went. It was late August.
Okay. Was it hot?
No, it was not.
Good.
In fact, we went down to we went over to Martha's Vineyard, and it doesn't get above or below about 80 degrees.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I would definitely take it.
Yeah, it's great. It's a great place to go.
Signed up to be filmed, we did, right? So that's why we're going to be very conspicuous. That's coming from the building behind me, so you know. So this alley behind me is called Philadelphia Alley now, but it used to be called Jewelers Alley. So this is where the jewels used to occur for the city of Charleston. We named it Philadelphia Alley. What's so funny? What did you hear? There's no laughing on a ghost hunt.
She just said it right now. Disregard her. Disregard her.
Must be good.
I'll write that one down in a moment.
She is slow right now.
Kind of get a lot of tours around us. So, where was I? Oh, dueling became illegal and stupid. So they named this alley after a city that helped us out of one of our many, many fires that I mentioned earlier. Because we've literally had dozens. Philadelphia happened to be that city. So that's why it's called Philadelphia Alley now. All tell the story of one specific duel. However, I tell the story a little differently because you're ghost hunting. It's not just the ghost of the story. So, my job. Yeah, so the story goes a little something like this. There's a doctor that moves down here from Rhode Island. His name is Joseph Brown Ladd. He moves down here because his fiancée, Amanda, just inherited a bunch of money from her dead parents. She has an attorney helping her out with all of this cash flow. The attorney thinks the doctor is just after Amanda's money. The attorney tells Amanda to get rid of the doctor. So the doctor moves to Charleston to prove that he's not. So have a seat, and this way you guys can actually tell me what you've heard, what you've seen. We're going to chill here for a few minutes. Okay. You guys paid me to go to work. I'm going to give you a break. How's that work, Laura? Does that work for you?
Yeah.
All right.
That's a parking lot.
This is me excited, everybody. Y'all get I'm not the guy where I get scared and shove somebody into a dark corner. This is not television. We have a 12 million dust reading from the elevator, which is an anomalous piece by itself. This is not the Pink Mansion. You can find that out real fast. So, a couple of things. Oh, by the way, Lori, this place should excite you a lot with that camera, just because this is where I capture a lot of orbs. So, a lot of very big orbs. With that said, we're going to be discussing the little tiny building over there with the crosses on it. First off, those are not crosses. Those are earthquake bolts. If you're not sure what earthquake bolts are, they're basically turnbuckles. If we have another earthquake like what we did in 1886, you can turn those turnbuckles and it's supposed to straighten the building back up again. It's a great idea, it just doesn't work. So I point these out because you guys have been looking at earthquake bolts your entire time in Charleston. You just didn't realize it. They're in the shape of pineapples and lion heads and all kinds of crazy Charleston decor all over town. It's just part of our charm. But these are the very first set of earthquake bolts that Charleston put in. Why? Because this is the oldest government building in South Carolina. It is the gunpowder magazine. It has served in 7 different wars, including the Civil War. That was its last service. So, we talked about the Charlestown walls earlier. The parking garage across the street where some of you may have already parked, that is actually where the wall stood. It went up Cumberland Street, just past the powder magazine, started moving south behind me to actually fortify the gunpowder magazine into the corners of the walls. It did that on purpose. It's 3 blocks away from the water. If it gets attacked from a Revolutionary warship or a pirate ship coming off the water, it's going to have a hard time getting through the 32-inch thick walls. So let's pretend that it does. The cannonball comes in, it blasts through the walls. There's sand in the roof from the early 1700s during its construction that's supposed to go up in the air with the explosion and then fall to put out the fire of the gunpowder. That's another great idea that doesn't work. So we had another powder magazine closer to the battery. It did get attacked. Sand went up. The building burned to the ground. Doesn't exist anymore. This one's just never been attacked. So we are here because this building is what I call a familiar. It's basically like using a toy to attract a child ghost. So Ann Bonnie, her career started during the middle of this building's construction, which took 10 years. Does that sound like our government? Small building, 10 years? No, not at all. I'll answer for you. So 1708. Follow me. There's a lot of twists. Young lady moves here from Ireland. Her name is Anne Cormac. She's with her father and his mistress. The mistress is her mother. Are you guys with me so far? Mm-hmm. All right. The three of them are running away from his wife. If I say that too fast, you all look at me like, what the hell did you just say? So, guys, basically, how angry was that wife? Just pointing that out. So, they actually land in Georgetown, just north of here. Dad buys a plantation. Mom dies pretty quickly, which means he has to send young Anne down here to Charlestown to keep everything afloat. She's a salesperson now. So, Anne, back home in Ireland, was kind of a badass. They say she actually killed one of her servants when she was like 10 or 12 years old with a knife to the belly. Like, she was kind of hardcore. Keep that mentality of her in the back of your minds as we go through the rest of the story. We're going to fast forward. This is done in 1713. Pirates are coming through town in 1715. Anne is about 16, 17 years old at this time. So, she falls in love pretty quickly. This guy's name is James Bonnie. You guys see where this is going, right? I give you guys a lot of clues. Dad doesn't approve because he's a filthy pirate. I wouldn't approve either. They run away to Jamaica. They get married. Anne Cormac becomes Anne Bonny, the most famous female pirate of the Golden Age. However, James Bonny is a privateer. He's a spy for the British. This coward in her eyes. This is not who she wants. She falls in love again a few years later. Guy number 2. I'm going to keep track for you. You already know this story, Kim? You already know this one?
I'm finna go look.
You don't know Anne Bonny's story?
Wait, who does she end up with?
Oh,
I heard
Jack
about
Rack-
Bonnie.
John Rackham.
Jack.
Calico Jack was in
Crazy.
I heard about
Calico Jack
Bonnie,
is
but
the guy that she's looking
I
for.
don't
He
remember.
is
It was so
basically
long
the
ago.
same guy that they based your Captain Jack Sparrow off of. He does have his own ship, and Anne wants to be part of it. You can't put a girl on the crew. They curse pirate ships. So he makes a deal with her. If you dress like a guy, you can be part of the crew, but you're going to be a female in my quarters. She's okay with this because Dad used to cross-dress her as a boy back home in Ireland to keep her away from his wife. She's like, whatever, I'm a pirate, let's go. We're all adults here, we can put 2 and 2 together. Being a female in his quarters, she's eventually going to get pregnant. You cannot have a pregnant pirate dude on the crew. Somebody's going to figure out that she's a female. So he drops her off in Cuba. We'll have the baby here. My friends here will actually help you out. Come back, we'll figure it out later. She has the baby, returns with no baby. We have no idea what happened to this child. She's also dressed like a female. She doesn't give a damn anymore about hiding her gender. This makes Calico Jack pretty angry. While she was away giving birth to Jack's firstborn, he captured another pirate crew. They're down below deck, and Anne's going to go flirting to make Jack even more mad, because that's what Anne does. Guy number 3. Guy number 3 turns out to be a female, dressed like a guy to be part of the pirate crew that Calico Jack just captured. So now we have 2 females doing the exact same thing in the same ship. That young lady's name was Mary Read. And Mary Read was an English pirate. Her and Anne become friends, possibly lovers, we'll never know for certain, and Mary becomes part of the crew. The British find out where they are. They send their entire fleet of ships to take down one pirate ship. Anne and Mary are the only 2 not drunk enough to come up and fight with their 1-bullet flintlocks. Obviously, the ship's going to get taken. As they're being arrested, she looks at her captain in bow, Calico Jack, and says, "You should have fought like a man instead of being hanged like a dog." The word dog being very prominent here. Now, the judge, his name was Nicholas Laws. I know I already mentioned Nicholas Trott across the street. My name shows up around this corner a lot. You can see why. Nicholas Laws wants to see the 2 men that fought back so valiantly after he's already tried and hung Calico Jack, the captain, and the drunken pirates that wouldn't come up and fight. So the 2 ladies go in front by themselves. They reveal their gender. He doesn't care that they're female. He's still going to hang them because they're still pirates. However, they scream out, "We plead our bellies," meaning they're both claiming to be pregnant. You cannot hang a pregnant woman in 1720. It's illegal. So he sends them both back to jail, delays the hanging. Dad is still here in Charlestown area with all of his Irish money. He bails out Anne, brings her back home. She remarries. That's husband number 2, guy number 4. Yes, we're going to count Mary Read because we don't know for sure. She has 4 kids and dies at the age of 84. I know, very abrupt ending. What happens to Mary Read? Anybody know? She died a year later, 1721. In a Jamaican jail from whatever pirates die from in a Jamaican jail. Yeah, it's probably scurvy and bumpy and gross and whatever else you guys want to come up with. Now, I left out 2 questions for all of you Spirit Box folks on purpose because, again, this story has a lot of holes. The questions you can ask here: the name of Ian Bonney's parents. That's the father and the mistress. The name of Calico Jack's ship. I also left out. So if you want to find out what that is, by all means, ask your spirit boxes. I did tell all of you at the beginning of this tour that I kind of gave you that heated warning if you're feeling ill. I am going to take one more minute of your time because this actually occurred based on the story. So, back in September last year, I brought my group back here, probably around the same size. The kid next to me goes white as a ghost, starts to faint. I had to pick him up by his armpit. His boyfriend picks him up on the other side so he doesn't hit his head on the ground. We take him over to that brick wall, which is where we're going to end, by the way. He's feeling better after I go get him a bottle of water from the vending machine. I then tell the story. It's important to know that they don't know what I just told you. After I send everybody out with their devices, they pull me aside. Nick, we have to tell you something. I'm like, what's going on? We are 2 transgender males, meaning I had 2 females dressed as males, just like Anne and Mary on my tour, and didn't know. It made complete sense as to why one of them started to pass out the minute we entered the space. Take that for what it's worth. These are things I cannot make up. I am a good writer, but I'm not that good. So, again, this is why I give the heated warnings. For those of you with cameras, all 3 of you, and lasers, you can go to the front of the powder magazine. You would have to exit the lot through that exit over there, make a left, shine your lasers in the front lawn only, because otherwise you're going to be shining in somebody's living room, because those are apartments above it. But get some footage up there. If you want to go back and see if there's any free, like no tours over in front of the cemetery by the sign, you can go get some footage over there. We're going to spend our last time here, so 5, 10, 15 minutes based on what you guys are telling me of what's going on with the spirit boxes. I'm excited about your 12. If we get anything else, I'll be even more excited, but definitely turn on your REM pod. Take lots and lots of pictures. And as far as everybody else goes, let's get those spirit boxes cranked up and let's have some fun in our last spot. Are you still recording?
Yeah, I am.
So do a stop and restart again. So just hit that square for me. There's a lot going on in here.
I got cash and oil.
What? Yeah.
I said, tell me what your parents' names are. It popped up Rebecca and me. Does that
No.
mean anything? Okay. I got excited.
I could say yes. I'll take it.
The fact that they went to Jamaica makes it it's quite more interesting for me now. You didn't even know. Being Jamaican, you didn't even know. I just think it's so cool that these buildings are extremely old. That's extremely old building.
Very attentive group, I must say.
Oh, I'm listening.
I know, I talk
Now-
a lot. You
now-
guys sometimes
now-
have to shut me up.
Now I need those names of the Jamaican.
You can turn that thing up in here a little bit.
I am
You get
definitely
rid
going
of
to
the
need those names now.
volume. Nope, I don't know who that is.
Ann Bonnet and Mary.
Okay.
Come on, let's send liquid.
Bro, hey, gotta make sure now. You a savage now, but I'm trying to tell you. We ain't dropping the wind.
Ooh, the subject matter? No?
It should be a nice, easy video to watch too, so thank you.
You
You wouldn't
are-
believe how many.
Oh no, I ain't even doing it. I'm keeping it level. Like you said, keep it level.
Yeah, the slower you are with that thing, it makes for a nice video to watch later on. You guys ever done anything like this before? Oh, you guys told me you didn't even go on
This
Ghost
our
Tour
first
before.
time.
This is my first
So
time.
other ghost tours you're gonna go to in the future, you're either gonna hate it or it's gonna be like, yeah, Nick was over the top. Like Nick was too much. Like that's the way it rolls here.
Cause Nick just gave me history that I'm gonna go look up when I get home.
I'm actually from Jamaica.
She's from Jamaica.
Born and raised.
When you said Ann Bonnet out and you saw
And
it,
I heard about Anne and Jamaican history, but I was young. But I remember.
And there's still a lot of holes. You're still like
There's a lot
discovering
of
things
history.
about her.
I'm
Yeah.
about to go read when I get home.
Yeah, but I'm gonna give you a bunch of links anyway.
Good.
So you're gonna have a ton. You're gonna have all
Minus the
names
one with
Veronica.
the baby.
I don't know. I'm gonna write it down. Okay. I don't know who Veronica is. Yep.
Then you get subject matter.
No, I don't think it's important, I guess. I don't know.
But breaking
I heard subject matter and instrument. Yeah, I'm not breaking the wheel. That was one time, bro.
I'm not talking. We on camera. Podcast.
Podcast. I heard podcast.
I'm snitching on you, boy.
Bro, what's up, man? What's going on?
I would expect that. I expect that out of me. I expected that out of me, and I had one, but I was like, I can't even do it no more. Couldn't even do it no more. Just listen.
Instrument and podcast. How the hell can you live in an apartment next to this store?
Child, I don't know how you can live in this city.
City as a whole.
And being that it's so hunted and history-wise.
But no reason. And that's perfectly fine. Yeah.
Do they still base the tax status off of the size of the buildings? Have they like not tried to change the look? Oh,
I don't live down here. I actually live almost an hour from here.
oh, great. Because I now understand why everything is skinny and close together, but it's like,
If you look at some of these places, I mean, you can even tell, like you see the almost like roof
yeah.
shape in there. That was kind of an extension to the powder magazine because it didn't always serve a war. They had to do something with the building because they didn't have any buildings. So it'd be a mercantile, a textile, an office space, a lawyer's office. who
Yeah.
knows? So they had to change it up, and now it's apartments. But I still think that the powder magazine, because it is a museum now, I think they still have access to that ground floor for storage. I could be mistaken, but I think that that's the way it's still used, and the apartments are all just above it. So
That's neat.
It is neat. It's
you
very.
have to utilize like the space when you start walking around and you really look at some of the architecture versus the geography. It makes sense. Especially
Yeah.
like all the outskirts of Charleston. Like I don't know how much you guys know about that, but it's not. That's all man-made. Everything on the outside of the peninsula, that's all man-made. We've extended it by probably a quarter of a mile wide all the way around.
Oh wow.
Like it's crazy.
So I heard podcast and instrument.
Instrument possibly. I'm not gonna take
Podcast. Me neither.
It's like,
It's way too modern.
Too modern.
You definitely heard something, so that's good. Let me follow up with that REM pod, and then I'll group this all up after together. Jacob, what do you got going on?
I ain't eating no. I ain't going back there. Gotta wait. You gotta shower.
Brandon.
You not gonna live up
Who
for
said I was gonna
dying.
have sex tonight? Oh,
I don't know. Whatever. You talking about. Whatever happens, happens.
it's a video. It don't talk.
No, it's got voice to
No,
it.
it doesn't.
But,
He said it
mm,
wasn't. I know what you now. Fuck that.
wait till I tell my mom. She gonna like. She gonna bust out laughing like that joke funny. That joke is not funny. It was the look. It was the look for me. That's the problem. You did this right here?
I didn't.
That's the problem. That's what made it worse.
I didn't know that it was gonna come up like the,
You know,
the
it's gonna be that
volume.
loud. No,
It
loud.
wasn't loud at all.
It said,
It was the smell that was.
that's
like,
what I'm
I
saying.
didn't
Loud.
hear
That's
it.
what I'm saying. Loud.
Oh yeah, like I didn't know it comes up. I thought when you it goes
I'm calling
that
her
way.
as soon as we get in the door in the car. I'm calling her as soon as we get in the car. I ain't even ready to go home. We still going over there.
I know.
But you know, hey, clear that out. Nah. Cause that ain't it.
But I had food when I was at the house. I'm gonna go home
That's-
because of this. My
that's
hair is
shrimp,
like
ain't it?
all a mess.
That shrimp and salmon must did it. I'm glad I am tall and I know the level of camera out. Cause I couldn't do this if I was taking pictures. talk. Hop out, man. I'm telling you. You on cap a gut rest now.
You enjoyed my dinner, though. I did good. I treated my husband very well.
Your stomach
You
too.
enjoyed it.
And we left the shrimp out and the whatchamacallit.
I only left one, yeah. Or two.
Well, you left one stool left.
One stool.
I don't think I could have been able to catch all these words that everybody catching. That'd make me mad. I'd be so irritated. I can't hear anything.
I'm ready to go.
I'm not.
I had to fart again.
Stay right there.
So weird.
No. Don't do it with me around. You already did. It's gonna be live and I'm gonna be bothered. And bunny.
A lot of this is based on movement. So right now, I mean, right over there, I said it multiple times. They kept going.
I got treat Earth night.
Nobody else is giving anything super specific. Shane, you got anything? Nothing? Kendra?
Nope. Still Eliza.
All right, let's head over to the wall. Peyton, you got anything?
And bunny. Her nickname was Annie. It's gonna be
Alright, last set of picture pages. So, I am excited about the name Jack showed up on the word list. How long ago was that?
Let's see here.
Should be a timestamp.
That's 10:29.
10:29. It's 10:52, so we probably would have been coming around the corner from